right, so now I'm going to talk about the 4 categories of cues that I teach in my program. One of the reasons why I isolate everything into 4 categories and separate it like that is because it allows for isolations for the horse and for the person. So when you come into my program, it's going to make things a little bit easier to learn because I have separated it out into those different cues, and it's going to be easier for the horse to learn. So one of my biggest things in my training career and my teaching career has been to make things easier for the horse and the person to learn. And there is no better way than by creating small little isolations and working on them in isolation and then layering them up and combining them together eventually. So if you also think about this, for example, and we can play with this today, if you take a horse to a new environment and the horse gets distracted, if at home you only have 100% of quality of all your cues together, you lose 30% when you go to like strange environment, the horse gets distracted, and now you drop down to like 70% of quality. So think about like if you're going to go out on a trail ride and the horse is in a new environment and they're not used to it, or you go to a horse show, or you go ride at your friend's house, you want to have good quality and a high percentage of the communication with your horse so that it can be kind of bomb-proof and you can rely on it when things are not just like they're at home. So for example, if I'm teaching my horse to stop and I'm riding my horse, I have a lot of options of which cues to use. I can pull on the reins, so that would be similar to like applying the pressure with the lead line. I could quit riding with my seat and take my energy, just lower my energy and communicate with my horse through my seat. I could squeeze with my legs for the stop, or I could take my legs off of his sides and he'll feel that. Or I could say, whoa, or I can do all of that at the same time. So when I'm training horses, typically I try to isolate each one of those cues when I'm training the horse to do it, and I'm continuously testing them in isolation. So when I come to a stop, let's say I'm training horse for a kid's horse, every time that kid shortens the reins and pulls on the reins, the horse should know to slow down or stop and back up. Just like here, if the kid grabbed by the halter and wanted the horse to take a couple steps back, the horse would respond to that. Do you have that 100%? Right? How do you know if you have it 100% really good? Well, you test it. So you grab the halter, you don't cluck, you don't shush, and you just pull back. Same thing if I was on the horse's back. I could loop my reins right here and simulate that I'm on top of this horse. I'm going to loop this rein right here, and I'm going to simulate my reins real quick for a demo. If I'm sitting on this horse and I just literally pull back on these reins, will this horse back up? He does, but it's a little sticky. I would say that's about 70%. So then, like if I'm doing a cold start, I will take this horse for a walk with me, and randomly I'll just act like I'm in this sitting position, and in isolation, I'm just applying pressure with that rein. Good boy, that was a little bit better. That was about 85%. That was pretty light, right? But that's just from a walk. So if I add energy to it, it's probably going to be even stickier. Good boy, that was better. That was about 90. So I would work on that until I have about 100% quality over time. Not in the first session, but each day when I come out, I would like to increase that percentage of responsiveness. All right, the next thing we could do for a stop, let's say we're playing at Liberty, we could isolate a tool cue, okay? So there are 4 categories of cues in my program. We have the tool cues, which is like your stick, your halter, your lead line. It could be a spur. It could be your reins, the bridle. I also have visual cues. I have feel cues, which typically we use more when we're riding. The visual cues are more like when we're at Liberty, let's say like I step in front of him to slow him down or change direction, see how he came up towards me. So that was an obvious visual cue. Now I'm using a visual cue and a tool cue at the same time because I'm using my body language. Sometimes it's not always possible to isolate all of the cues because my body, you know, he can read my intention, my energy, and things like that is always kind of affecting the horse. But we can try to isolate them as much as possible. So the other cue, the fourth category of cues is the vocal cue. And it's a cue that a lot of people overuse usually in their program, and they don't have good effectiveness with it. So I'm going to give you an example for like an upward transition. If I was to teach him to go into a trot every time I cluck. So we're going to just test it out. I'm just going to use it in isolation, and we're going to play with it until this horse actually does it 100% off of this cue. And he may do it immediately and he may not. So I'm going to cluck twice and see if we can get a trot. Nothing. He sped up just a little bit. So again, he sped up a little bit again. That was pretty good. Okay, so he's speeding up. He's thinking energy, but I would like for him to think that cluck means a trot. So in isolation, if I'm going to teach this, I'm going to cluck, and then I'm going to reinforce on his butt. So I got to be stick length distance and touch him on the butt. Okay, I'm just going to let him feel that. That's the release. Feel good moment right there. We're just going together in neutral. I'm going to step in front of him to help him slow down a little bit. See if he'll slow down. There we go. He's slowing down. Slowing down. So a visual cue. I'm stepping in front of him. There, good. He slowed down, but he also changed direction. Good. So now we have a walk again. I'm going to let him think walk, and then I'll reinforce. Now, in my program, I typically start by introducing the tool cues first. Not always, but typically. Because I want to have a cue that the horse already knows and understands really well, is not afraid of. So my horses should respond to the tool cue, whether it's my reins or the halter, the lead line, the stick, or spurs eventually with the higher level horses, or a neck rope for bridleless riding, a couple of dressage sticks if I'm riding bridles. I want them to respond to those with relaxation and willingness. If I know that they understand the tool cue already, I can fall back on that tool cue when I'm introducing a cue from a different category. And then I'll start layering it. So he already knows that when I touch his butt, he should go forward, right? So now I'm just going to layer it, and my new cue is going to be the cluck, and then I'm going to reinforce with what he already knows. So I'm not teaching him both of those cues at the same time. All right, so we're going to try again. He's kind of thinking a walk now. Again, reinforce. Just going to let him feel good. You can do this with a horse that's a little lazy, and it works really well. And just let them kind of dribble down like that. Horses that are a little on the lazy side, they don't have high energy. I should call them low energy horses instead of lazy. But the lower energy horses, this horse is kind of medium. They will usually break gait pretty quickly. I'm going to cause him to slow down. There we go. He almost had it there. Good, that's okay. So there's a stop. Take him back out. I'm going to guide him with my energy just down and low. And we're going to try it again. So he's thinking a walk. He's walking. Look at that. Third time, okay? 100% he understood that cluck means a trot. So that's how we do it in isolation. But how many people come in the round pen and they're continuously swooshing the stick and string or the lunge whip, clucking and kissing and saying trot and canter and all kinds of stuff. And with a low energy horse, the horse doesn't do it. So I would do it like this until the horse really understands it 100%. So for example, if he has a visual cue, 100% really good. Visual cue could be for a gas pedal, me speed up with my feet and open my arms. So I could go for a trot like this. Oh, he thought it was a change of direction because I stepped in front of him. Let's try again. Don't want to trot. Let's start from a walk. So if I can get a visual cue, 100% good. There we go. Let's say I go like this. There, good. So that was just a visual cue. I didn't use my stick, I just used my body's energy. Let's see if we can get a canter. Yeah, good boy, okay? There we go, he changed this. He was cross-firing. There we go, good. Try again, see if he'll go. Good, so look, he knows that visual cue really good. That was 100% really good for the canter. Let's kiss and see if he'll go. Good, he knows that too. Good job. I didn't use the visual cue that time. Of course, if I raise my tool, he'll probably go. Wasn't as crisp because he wasn't paying attention as much. So for the gas pedal, 100% I could say that I have 100% visual cue, 100% vocal cue, and the stick was maybe 90%. So 290%. So if I was to go show at, excuse me, if I was to go show to the Liberty Show, or I went out on a trail ride or something, and I asked for the gas pedal, and of course I would have to introduce field cues on his back, I would have 290%. He gets a little distracted, maybe lose 30% or 50%, and I'm still pretty good because I think it would not drop below 100. With maybe some exceptions it might. But that's the kind of quality that I'm looking for, of that responsiveness of each category of those cues in isolation, so that when I go show or I go to a new environment, I put them all together and I hopefully have 300% at home. Like right now he's thinking really go. My whoa cue probably wouldn't be as good right now, but again, I could make a session out of that and use it in isolation. I could use a visual cue. I could start with the stick cue, put the stick on his chest, make sure he can slow down and back up first. Then use a visual cue. I can just step in front of him and maybe raise my hand up, and then I could say the W word, the whoa, and see if he responds to it. Or I could shush for a slow down, or I could hum for a slow down and see if I can get him from a trot to a walk. Things like that, just playing with it in isolation. And those are usually one of my most favorite sessions, when I'm really isolating this and really playing with it and just testing my horse to see, are they visually looking at me and paying attention? Do they understand the tool cues and the boundaries of those? Are they listening, and do they understand those? One of the reasons why I don't use the vocal cues first, and I don't teach my students to do that, is one, it's usually overused and people don't even realize they're doing it because we're communicating verbally all day, every day, so we can overdo it. But also, especially for a Liberty horse, I want for the horse to be looking at me with their eyes, not just listening with their ears. How many people have a horse that's going around at Liberty and the horse is looking to the outside of the round pen, and the person, let's say, kisses for the canter and the horse departs into the canter, but the horse is not looking at the person. So then the person might step in front of the horse to do a change of direction, and the horse is still not looking at them. So I want to make sure that the horse learns to keep their eyes on me first. So I start with the tool cues, then the visual cues on the ground, and then eventually introduce those vocal cues. So those are my 4 categories of cues, and you can really play with that and see how much you can isolate it. Your visual cues are like the direction of your body, your hand signals, the direction of your feet, which way you're moving, where you're standing according to the horse's body. And when I'm riding, sometimes I have a little bit of visual cues from my dressage sticks too. My horse can see that from the side. So that's the wrap up on the 4 categories of cues.